Hey everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So today I want to talk about tax again and really thinking about deductions when it comes to being a contractor. Trying something new today using my mobile linked to my mic, but we'll see where it goes. Now, why do we get taxed? Okay. Well, they say tax was linked to democracy back in the Greek days, but essentially it helps us pay for things within, the country that you're living in, whatever it may be. So whenever you get your sort of like breakdown of what you've been taxed or whatever it is at the end of the year, you usually see what you've contributed to. Okay. So it's important that we get taxed, so to speak. Do we agree with it? I'll leave that up to you. Okay. But tax is important for a certain reason. Now I'm using my sort of notes to help me sort of like talk about this stuff. But really and truly, this is going to be quite similar to last week in a sense where I'm really talking about ways in which you can improve or save some of your taxes. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is deductible, so to speak. Okay, what are some things that you can sort of like save on when it comes to business expenses? Now, of course, this will be applicable to people who are outside of IR35. So HMRC will see you guys as a business. Okay, they'll see you guys as a business. So you need to think about travel costs. You need to think about associations and memberships that you're part of. You need to think about, again, operational costs, things like your devices and all these different things. You need to think about software and trainings that you've paid for. So all of these things are tax deductible in some way, shape, or form. And of course, if you were charged VAT for anything and you were registered either under voluntary VAT or because you're earning over a certain amount, I think it's over something like 86,000 or whatever it may be, then of course you can claim some of that back. So think about all of this stuff. And of course, IR35 has a big part to play when it comes to taxes. You're always going to be more tax efficient typically if you are outside of IR35. That's just a fact. And that's because HMRC see you as a business in terms of how you operate. And therefore, typically corporation tax is cheaper. Okay, corporation tax is cheaper. Whereas if you're working inside of IR35, as stated many times in many videos before, you are going to be taxed as if you are an employee because HMRC sees you doing work as somebody who is, again, similar to somebody working for an employer. And of course, it comes down to your jurisdiction, i.e., whether you agree to go with that contract or not, to determine whether you should be inside or not. And this is where, IR35 insurance comes into play and all that kind of stuff there, because there are many companies right now who are putting people inside because it's just easier for them, whatever it may be, but they're not truly identifying or helping you identify whether that is an outside or inside role. Okay, so that's something you need to bear in mind for yourself. Now, of course, when it comes to sort of like planning for certain tax strategies and everything else, you need to be clear about your contract. Okay, does your contract clearly stipulate or highlight whether you're inside or outside? Because again, that will be determined based on the type of role that you're doing. Are you specifically reporting in to a manager or hiring manager? Do you need to clock in at certain times? Are you expected to do X result by the end of the day, whatever it may be? Those things come into play. That's the first thing. The second thing is you need to, again, have some sort of system or way to track what you're spending. So, there are things like Money Hub and all these other things that collect this data. So if you are, let's say, for example, paying for something for the first time, you need to think to yourself, is that a business expense? And just track it. Okay, anytime you get an invoice or a receipt for something, send it to your accountant. That's the next thing I want to talk about. Accountants are really important, in this whole game. I spoke about this before. If you don't have an accountant and you're a contractor or even a business owner who's actually thriving or making money, you're making a mistake. Okay, you're making a mistake because not only are they going to manage your accounts, they're also going to be an individual who can save you money based on tax efficiency. You can sit down with this individual, talk to them over the phone, and really understand what it is that you can do to become more tax efficient. And it's not tax avoidance, there is a difference. If you're actively avoiding tax, that's not a good thing, because what you're doing is you're not giving what the state or the country believes it's owed. Okay, whether we agree with it or not, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. But if you're being efficient, you're being accurate in terms of what you should give and what you shouldn't give. And of course, they're not going to remind you of what you shouldn't give. They're going to just take whatever. So it's one of those things where you have to be cognizant of this stuff. It's important that you get the right type of accountant. And I've said this many times before, get someone who is FCSA approved. Again, if you're contracting. Of course, if you're a business owner, maybe slightly different. Now there are things synonymous to FCSA. I forget what the different associations are, but this is something to bear in mind, so think about all of these different things. Again, you want to make sure that when it comes to organization of things, okay, things that you've paid for, your contracts, the status of your, again, IR35 status, your insurance, when it comes to all of this stuff is organized and filed properly. You may want to file this stuff online, but usually I like to keep this stuff away from the online world because you just never know who could hack into whatever it may be. So find a safe way to store this stuff, whether it's on your computer, password protected, or on a USB stick, or on a hard drive, or a bit of both. Whatever model you use, try to keep it nice and slick and succinct. The final thing I want to say is, make sure you seek legal advice, okay, when it comes to some of this tax stuff. If you don't have an accountant, or if you don't have the right type of entity to help you out, seek legal advice, people who can sort of support you within this space. I say legal advice, I meant to say professional advice, okay? You don't want to get this from any old Tom, Dick and Harry. You want to talk to experienced individuals. You may speak to different contractors who may have picked up things, over the years and stuff, but an accountant is the best person when it comes to this stuff, okay? Or somebody who has financial acumen, like a financial planner or whatever it may be. They may be able to help you in a broader sense of things, but the accountant is the best person to talk to. So again, if you are thinking about being more tax efficient, I think it may have passed now, then you can watch this video, you can watch the last video as well, and you can binge watch the rest of my videos where I talk about contracting, all this kind of stuff there. I also talk a lot about leadership, coaching, portfolio career management, life management, all this kind of wonderful, colorful stuff. But again, you can check it all on my YouTube channel. If you want to see more videos like this tailored around life management and portfolio careers, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.